Konnichiwa Devios, OldClassicGamer here and welcome to my brand new video. So, this is just to inform you guys that I got a few things that I just want to share with you. Well, the first off, as you can see, I got N64. Yeah, as you see, it's transparent right next to my transparent Xbox One. Now, I also have the controller, everything, all the cables, the AC adapter, everything is there now. It is kinda getting messy over here, like I can't even plug everything, like VHS cannot be with all these consoles, but I rarely even watch that, so don't really care. Some of the other systems I own. Well, basically, so far I love it. Basically, there were two for sales. One was transparent, one was black. The difference in price was like the transparent one was 1,800 yen, and the black one was 1,600 yen. Basically, not that much difference. And I was like, who the hell wants the dull black N64? Like, have some variety. I think that all the consoles should be transparent. There are even different transparent colors for N64. So the green is not the only one. The more exist, but this one was only for sale. So I was like, yeah, fine. You also have. Wait a second. What does it says here? Well, you can see it's a memory expansion. I guess it serves a save purpose, but never mind. Actually, wait, it's not a save purpose. Memory expansion. It's like expands the memory so you can run some games. You can replace this thing, I think, with expansion pack, and then you can play games like Donkey Kong 64. Otherwise, it would just be a black screen. I think so. I don't have an expansion pack, and I have to get that memory pack as well, since some games cannot save. Most of the games have like a cartridge inside the memory card and cartridge for saving. Like this game, for example. This is the only game I own right now because came with it. Bomberman 64 so far. It is a pretty decent game, but the bosses don't make senses at all. I mean, just pure random when you waste them live and stuff like that. You have to watch out for their attacks. Now, the one thing I want to say is this is a PAL version. Why I got PAL version? Well, there's some PAL exclusive games. Well, not many of them, but there is, for example, Taz Express, and that game is region locked. You can buy the passport so you can fit into other consoles like N64, American and Japanese. Well, the Japanese one, the European cartridges, you see these little. They have like the European and Japanese have the same things there, and I don't know if you can see it, guys. It's dark, but inside there it is. There's a one thing like, so it basically fits these holes, and they're the same in PAL and Japanese, but different in American one. Why did they do that? Well, there's an explanation actually. We'll know that PAL consoles and Japanese consoles use different signal. Well, basically they use. PAL use PAL and Japanese use NTSC-J. Now, in the past, NTSC was the same for America and Japan, so you could technically play the Japanese cartridges on American consoles, but because it was the same output like NTSC. So Nintendo thought that putting some plastic barriers inside of the console is going to prevent people from like importing and playing imports. Now, why did they even originally wanted to do that? I have no idea, because I don't see how importing a game can affect anything. I mean, it's our choice if we paid for the game regularly like we would if we bought in the country we live. I fail to see a problem. Why shouldn't we be able to play it? Now, so basically on American consoles you can play Japanese games. Well, you could technically, but because of different holes inside and the different cartridges and stuff, you can't. Well, you can always like use some tools and remove that shit, but on N64 it's a really hard plastic. You can it's not that many space to like just put a pillar and break it. You can damage something important, so I won't recommend doing it. Even if you want to play Japanese on American console, just use a passport called N64 Passport Plus 3. Basically, that's what I'm gonna buy, because since, well, the Japanese ones have the same like the European games, but the signal is different in consoles, so it's just black screen. Well, that's it for the N64. Let's basically move into a different room. This is my brother's room, by the way. Well, since I have no freaking place to put anything else on my TV, this is what is on his TV connected. Well, first, I think you already know that I have this. This is basically a Famicom clone, to be exact. It's like a Famicom, but it's not. Instead of family computer, it says Nintendo MT999DX. Like, I don't know. The instructions, what the buttons do are on English instead of Japanese. Has the same eject thing, but has an AV output, and basically the controllers are longer, although they're still really short. But I believe they're longer than on original Famicom, and they're not wired inside. So inside, because on Famicom they have little things right there, so you can basically you cannot replace the controllers if they, for example, broke. If they break, for example, you cannot switch them because they're wired in. Well, of course, you can do it with some modification, but you cannot do it on regular ways, so that doesn't count. Everything can be done with modification, if you will. Also, the adapter for this Famiclone is like really bad. If you put it inside for too long, it's gonna be hot and it can be dead, and I don't freaking want the AC to not be able to play it. So you need to, when you're not playing the console, just put it outside and it will get cold like it should. That's basically it. I had some bootlegs, but I freaking I sold them for more money that I paid, because some people wanted it apparently. So I got stuff. Well, this is the original Famicom game, Rockman 5, aka Mega Man 5. Like, the Japanese versions have all the names better than the American version, except for Mega Man's name. I don't know, I could just never call him Rockman. I tried like using his Japanese name as primary, because I always prefer original names, but I don't know, for Mega Man it just doesn't feel right. It's like I'm saying the wrong, and I don't know, Mega Man is probably the only character I call by English name, if they change names, because I always like, for example, the main character in like Mega Man Battle Network, aka Mega Man XZ, that's how I like to call the series, because in Japan it's Rockman XZ, but I don't know, why would they translate to Battle Network? I don't know, but there's one character that is called Net Hickory, and in American version they call him Lan Hickory. Now, stupid change, I don't want to call him by that name, I call him Net Hickory. Like, also the Proto Man is called Blues in the Japanese version, a lot cooler name. Bass is called Forte in Japanese version, a lot better name. So yeah, the names are like a lot better. Oh, except if you want to count Dr. Light, they call him in Japanese version Dr. Right, but that's because Japanese cannot pronounce letter L, so yeah, that's why. that doesn't technically count as a change, it's still the same. For example, Google Translate, you use a word like on English and translate to Japanese, it'll come out on Japanese. You type Reich with R at the beginning instead of L, like not like but Reich. Translate, same translation will come for Japanese, because they can't distinguish those two letters, so that doesn't count. Also, I will buy some new Famicom games, but because I like they're smaller, better, and stuff. Like you see, this is how the American and European games look. They look like some tapes or something like that. I don't know. Well, that was because they wanted to disguise NES for marketing, because you know how Atari failed in the American and Europe. Well, that's because the games weren't that good. ET basically killed the console. Well, they had to disguise it as it's something for entertainment and not just video gaming. Nintendo, they had to do that, so they changed. So how do I play this there? How do I play it here? You can't fit. You see, it cannot go inside. How to do that? How? Well, simple as that. Just use NES to Famicom adapter. They even said it's a France, so you know how to put it inside. You put that there, but first I recommend putting it there. Works like a charm. It even runs the game. This is a PAL version, by the way, but it runs it at the full speed. Like this adapter like fixes everything. You basically don't have a slower gameplay. It's a full speed like it should be. Like does everything. I think this is good. The only bad thing about this is the eject is broken, so it doesn't work. How did that happen? Well, because this is technically not the original console. It's some Chinese Famicom clone, not real Famicom though. But since this is not a very good plastic, when I put the original game like this, I don't know, can you see this? But there's some stuff, because when I go inside, it has some trouble getting inside, so you have to push it like really hard. And like I played the game, it worked perfectly. But when I wanted to finish, I turned off, and I assumed you just need to push this up, and the game is like gonna get out like it would on normal Famicom. But since this is a good plastic and good quality, and this is a bad plastic, well, the quality of the console is good because it plays the game very well, and there are some pre-installed games inside this. Like if you turn on the console without having anything inside, then you get to some main menu when you can choose some of the games like Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and you know, all those classics. Well, some of them, not all of them, but like it says that it has over 9 million games, but I just lie to. They always say there's 999999999 in one, and yeah, instead you get like 7 games or something, and all the others are they just repeat itself on the list. So just with different texts, so nothing really new. Well, since when I was like pulling this out, the game got stuck, and I was pressing it hard because then I thought it will come out, but instead of coming out, the game stayed inside and this broke. But it's not really a big deal because the later consoles like N64 don't even have that eject thing, so you just basically use your hand and put the cartridge outside. Really simple thing. But since this is like it can get stuck sometimes inside, so you need to like hold the console with one and push a little harder with the another hand, which I cannot demonstrate because I'm holding the phone that I'm recording with right now. So, but that's basically what we were supposed to do. This did came with the RF switch. As you can see, there is a little. These two are closer than this one because this was never meant to go with this, but I have this and this like cable, and it's a lot easier for me to connect. I had it, and yeah, so I used that instead. Well, the last thing that I got is the American Super Nintendo. It came with this game, of course, the best Super Nintendo game. Well, one of the best ones. Everyone has a different opinion. Super Mario World. Now, this game is marvelous. I hope that the battery for saving works, because I freaking don't feel like opening these cartridges and replacing the battery. It's too much complicated. You can damage something. I tried with the Game Boy games. On 2 games it worked. On one I broke pretty much the cartridge. So yeah, I won't risk it. These are like for the collectors and nice collection. So yeah, when I get more of these, I'm probably gonna put them in some box or something like that, because they can't just go there, because I plan to collect many of these to have in physical form, because I quit piracy and stuff. I do use ROMs, but only if I want to play something, and I don't share that with other people. And plus, I'm gonna one day own all those ROMs on the physical form cartridges. So, still, basically, the only problem is that I don't have an AC adapter for this thing, because my country uses different AC adapters. I was pretty actually surprised that some guy was selling the American Super Nintendo. So when I saw this, I said, "Oh, I must get this," and it was cheap. It was only 1,000 yen. So yeah, really cheap. The thing, yellowing, only at the bottom, so the console doesn't look ugly when you look at it. Everything works. This is a lot better eject ladder. We got power, reset, and when you go inside, I don't know, can you see it because it's dark, but I can, and I will tell you. I used pillars to destroy some tabs that were holding, that were meant to hold cartridges in these holes. So now, because you have a lot more space to put pillars inside and destroy everything. And yeah, I did it. So now when I import Super Famicom games, the Japanese ones, they can work on this console. I mean, the American SNES does look a little bit unattractive and ugly, like it's just some great thing with purple buttons. They're not really even the buttons, you push them forward, so they're not really classic buttons. But hey, it's one system. On the Super Famicom you could technically play the American games, because as I said, both are NTSCs, the same signal on television, so yeah, there is nothing really that stops them. But the problem is the Famicom games are small. The Super Famicom games are smaller than NTSC ones, and the American ones. So yeah, they cannot fit into Japanese Super Famicom. It just you try it upon, you can't. You can like again destroy your console, make this wider, but it just makes the console look ugly, and I mean, it can look good if you know how to do it properly and have the tools, but then again, why ruin the outside of console when you can just say one console? Ruin a little bit of the inside, but who gives a flying shit what's inside? You can just basically play the games. So yeah, I also need to buy the controller for this, but the controller is not a problem. I can buy any Super Famicom controller because they sell them and not the American ones. Like, why would they sell the American ones? I was surprised that they were selling the console. But yeah, I need to find the AC adapter, because the AC adapter they only sell for Super Famicom, and that one is like it cannot go inside. I have a converter, so I can use the American stuff on this like things. You see, these are different than the American ones. So yeah, but I can use a converter. I have it. You put it on top of that, and then you can put that inside, and bam, you got yourself power, and it works. But I need to find the adapter for this. I have this like AV output. It's there connected, because this one was wasted for Famiclone. It plays everything, so I don't care. And yeah, so need to buy that. If you know where can I buy the American one, like for really cheap. I searched the eBay, and yes, I found the cheap ones, but the shipping costs $19. Why would I pay that much for a freaking AC adapter? I don't like that. Well, if you know where can I like get it for much cheaper, then post a comment and tell me, because I wanna make this working and that I can play some games. Well, that's it for now. Sayonara.